Good evening, everybody. My name is Grace Missillo, and I will be presenting on Trump's inaugural address. Now, many of you, all of you in this room, were alive during this time, and I'm sure most of you remember it if you were following the news and or the election. So just some quick background. So Donald J. Trump was born on June 19th, 1946 AD, which is 1 year, almost exactly. It's like about 2 or 3 months shy of the end of World War II. He ran in the presidential race against Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton and was elected as the 45th President of the United States of America on November 8th, 2016. He was the first ever person in general to run for any political office, including president. And it was the largest landslide victory for a Republican in 28 years, winning more than 2,600 counties nationwide, and most since President Reagan in 1984, and over 62 million votes, the most ever for a Republican candidate. He was sworn into office around noon on January 20th, 2017 AD, and he delivered his 16-minute long inaugural address, on which my presentation is. So he began his speech with the expected pleasantries, the greeting of the Chief Justice Roberts, who swore him in, the former US Presidents Carter, Clinton, Bush, and Obama, all of whom were in attendance, the American people, and the people of the world to which he would be working in close junction. So after the greetings and formalities, Trump commenced his inaugural address by stating that with his election, the power of the government was not only being transferred from one president to another, but was also being given back to the people. This statement was important as many Americans believed the government had too much power and was not considering what was actually good for the good of the country. And this was important because that was how our country was founded. Our first president and our founding fathers believed that the people should have the power, not the government. As time wore on and our country grew older, the power became the government's, unfortunately. But Trump was very set on giving that power back to the people and having them make decisions. President Trump began to remind Americans that he is indeed the populist candidate they thought he was, and that he saw their problems across the country, and was finally in a place to effect significant changes. He said in his speech, "For far too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land. That all changes starting right here and right now, because this moment is your moment. It belongs to you. This is your celebration, and this is your country." So he made it very clear that even though throughout his election, people were like, oh, he's just another politician telling us what we want to hear just to get himself elected. But throughout his presidency, he made it very clear that that was not at all what he was. He was very true to his word. Trump emphasized the role of the American people in both everyday American life and in his electoral victory. He told them what they wanted to hear, not necessarily as a cheap political trick, but because his background in construction, real estate, and business led him to understand the working man in a way most other politicians and bureaucrats never will. So as a non-politician, he thinks like a businessman. He tries to make the best business deals for our country, and he doesn't just complain about things and not get anything done. If he finds something to complain about, he finds it fixed because he makes sure that he can hire the best people to get it done, to put our country in the best state that it can be. President Trump also knew that jobs in America were being given to foreigners, leaving those deserving of jobs, Americans, jobless. To fix this problem, he came up with 2 simple rules. They are: Buy American and hire American. So with Buy American, President Trump encouraged America to produce her own goods instead of importing everything. He was very well known to say that America owed too much to China and that we needed to begin producing everything we could here in our own land. And hire American. President Trump urged employers to hire Americans instead of foreigners to the open jobs in their companies. We will get our people off of welfare and back to work, rebuilding our country with American hands and American labor. He was very big on making sure that America took care of America first. That was his motto. That was what drove his presidency, was to take care of America first. It didn't matter about everybody else if America was not doing well. He was also a huge proponent of patriotism. So Trump also wanted to affirm and strengthen American unity. He drew attention to the common goals that patriots should have and asked that Americans work together to achieve those goals regardless of race or religion. At the bedrock of our politics will be total allegiance to the United States of America, and through our loyalty to our country, we will rediscover our loyalty to each other. When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice. We must speak our minds openly, debate our disagreements, but always pursue solidarity. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable. Now, reading that quote, it reminded me of something that President John F. Kennedy would also say. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Patriotism is a huge thing in Donald Trump's presidential race and election and his presidency in general, because he always wanted to take care of America. So in his closing remarks, President Trump urged Americans to realize and act on their dreams. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny, and your courage and goodness and love will forever guide us along the way. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again, which was the driving quote for his presidency and his campaign. We will make America great again. That was what he was known to say. That is what everyone would repeat, and that led to a great success in the election. So in his inaugural address, President Trump stated some of his goals for his presidency clearly. I chose the three main ones that I found kept coming up when I was reading them. So they are to give power back to the people of America, to buy American products whenever possible and hire American citizens to American jobs, and to support and encourage American patriotism and unity in our country. These goals were recognized throughout his presidency and led to a revitalization of America's efforts to continue to be the greatest country on earth. I will now stand for questions. Claire.
You mentioned that you picked 3 of the themes that you found. What were some of the other ones that you found in his speech?
There was a great deal of America first. So that's just the over general thing that he was looking at. He also talked about how he wanted to make America wealthy again, which was something I didn't find too important in his inaugural speech. He also talked about welfare and how we needed to take care of the poor, which is good, but I didn't deem it to be important enough to be a major remark in his inaugural address. Lana?
Did you find that there were any other connections between his inaugural address and maybe other speeches of other presidents in the past, like any other patterns that you found?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, the John F. Kennedy one.
Mm-hmm.
I also got little notes of wanting to refound America on American principles, which would be something that, well, obviously came from the founding fathers, so Adams and Washington, but also from Lincoln as well, with the refounding of America in 1860s when he was fighting in the Civil War. Anyone else? Thank you, guys.